There's nothing as soothing as guzzling refreshing water after a workout session or a day out in the sun. Most people would prefer to take bottled water in this situation rather than tap water. But do you know that everything you've been told about the bottled water industry is a scam? Well, with people spending billions of dollars on this every year, we're about to show you how this multi-billion-dollar industry successfully convinced you that bottled water is better when that is far from the truth. Bottled water is actually tap water. This may come as a rude shock that bottled water is not some special spring water sourced from the rarest places in the world. Bottled water is just tap water with a lot of flair and good advertising. We're talking about as much as 45% of the bottled water in the United States. What producers do is take these regular municipal tap waters and put them through thorough filtration processes like reverse osmosis. The craziest part is that these may seem like state-of-the-art filtration methods that require a lot of heavy machinery, but even your home water filtration system can get this done easily. Some other bottled water companies claim to get their water from spring water, which could either be pumped from a borehole or flows to the surface naturally. Still, there is a lot of secrecy surrounding these companies' source of their water because it could put a severe dent in their advertising strategy. They wouldn't want a lot of people knowing that they're paying more for something that is right under their noses. Bottled water companies are not legally required to disclose the source of their water, and many of them choose to stay mute about this. Some brands with words like mountain water and glacier water, which have no regulation, may be sourcing their water from even worse places than advertised. It says a lot about the quality of bottled water, doesn't it? They also contain chemicals. Is your bottled water completely free of toxins? Unfortunately, the answer is no. Despite this, bottled water has gotten a reputation as a healthy alternative, with most exercise gurus preferring to drink this than tap water. Still, there was a lot of material to make this fit into the advertising strategy of bottled water companies. Health scares like that of the Milwaukee water system, where there was a parasite outbreak in 1993, were good starting points to make people consider bottled water as a cleaner choice. So we had top brands like PepsiCo and the Coca-Cola Company swiftly taking over the market, with almost $15 million in sales in 2019 alone. However, the UK market wasn't as easy, especially when a lot of them discovered that one of the popular bottled water brands used filtered tap water only. After the authorities discovered more chemical bromate than necessary in Dasani, it went out of the market completely in 2004. This showed that even bottled water is not as safe as we think. It started as a status symbol. Bottled water didn't come into existence because producers were concerned about your health and looking to help you stay safe. Why else would companies put a price tag on something that is readily available right in your home? It all goes down to the mid-1800s when entrepreneurs in the United States claimed that bottled water was a miracle cure to a lot of ailments. They were positioned as the good guys, while the early urban water systems were the bad guys. Soon, chlorination swooped in to save the day, and municipal water supplies were obviously safe to drink. As sales declined, Perrier started a new advertising campaign in the late 70s where they claimed that bottled water was healthy enough to serve as a substitute to soft drinks and hard liquor. This was a great angle, and the cool image of bottled water appealed to the sensibilities of the upper class. How many movie sets do you see celebrities drinking tap water in? Exactly. But the jig was up when some Perrier bottles contained some amount of benzene, which should never go near your mouth. Even though they were bought by Nestle, it's still a rough ride for the company. Leaves behind a carbon footprint. Plastic bottles are made with crude oil, and that means that a lot of this would be required to make sure that plastic bottles never fade out of existence. So we have companies drilling more into the Earth's core to top up their crude oil supply, and Mother Nature is definitely not smiling. However, this is not the only process that takes up natural resources. Transporting the bottled water to various locations takes as much as a liter of gasoline for each bottle. Of course, this creates more demand for fossil fuels, and this is where a massive carbon footprint comes into play. Several environmentalists have been talking about the huge carbon footprint that plastic bottles leave behind, and this has led to more discussions about a better packaging alternative. This doesn't even include the fact that bottled water is quite wasteful, as it could take as much as 3 liters of water to make a 500 milliliter plastic bottle. The irony here is much when you realize that water is wasted to produce bottles that would house water. And this is one reason why lots of spring water resources around the world, especially in the United States, are quickly dying up as companies keep taking more than the sources can support. This was exactly what happened with Strawberry Creek in California, when connecting creeks completely dried up in 2018 because Nestle took out as much as 45 million gallons for its bottled water production. Locals had little to no water to live on while the world was left with more of a carbon footprint. Tap water is tested more than bottled water. One would think that bottled water would have go through strict testing processes before it could be allowed to get into the homes of consumers, but that's quite far from the truth. Tap water goes through a lot more testing for quality and contamination than most people know. We guess it's because the Environmental Protection Agency knows that water that is directly accessible by anyone in your home and used for pretty much everything around the country deserves to go through thorough examination constantly. Who knew? However, they don't subject bottled water to these same type of regular checks, which says a lot about the quality of what is in those bottles. With tap water going through more testing, that would mean that the quality is much higher than we're made to believe. Still, this depends on where you live. We've had scandals with tap water over the years, which enforces the fears of water contaminating toxins. That's good news if we can find out exactly what's in your water through an annual drinking water quality report. Rethinking your choice of bottled water yet? Not all bottles get recycled. It's not just fossil fuels that are leaving a heavy carbon footprint from the production of bottled water. We are meant to have a society where people are encouraged to recycle products and keep them out of landfills. The sad truth is that the bottled water industry leaves a whole lot of leftover plastic waste that ends up at the bottom of the ocean or polluting the Earth's surface. And shocking as it might sound, only 25% of the plastic bottles from bottled water companies actually get to the recycling stage. Others are mostly downcycled. What does that mean? Well, these plastics are used to make fabrics in China. While they may ignore the appalling aspect of actually wearing plastics, this means that these companies are not reusing old materials to make new bottles, and this increases the demands for byproducts of crude oil that go into making more bottles. The result? More pollution and greenhouse gases flying around the world. Creating more plastic bottles for bottled water is definitely not great for the environment, and that doesn't include the pollution that comes from plastic bottles for soft drinks either. More expensive than it should be. First, there's a crazy part about paying for water that you can actually get without spending a dime. Then, there's the worst one of buying it at an incredibly high price. With each gallon costing about $1, this means we're spending as much as 300 times more on each bottled water compared to simply drinking tap water. To give you a real perspective on this, it's the equivalent to spending almost $750 on a McDonald's hamburger. Ridiculous, right? Now you know all about the scam bottled water industry, and that's a wrap. Would you rather drink bottled water or tap water? Let us know in the comments. Did you like this video? Well, we're always posting amazing content like this, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out. Thanks for watching.